Hello, and welcome to the New Year's episode of Nici's Gaming Universe. I'm CommanderNici, and this is your favorite podcast on gaming. At least, I hope so. So, let's get started with the games that I've played 2025. So, the first game that I played 2025, or the first game I finished, depending on how you wanna arrange that wording, meaning, whatever, because that's something I didn't write down in my notes, is Digimon Survive, a game that I actually started in the middle of (2024), so that was something that was like far back on my backlog, and one of 8 games that I actually cleared off my backlog that I wrote down for 2025. I didn't like it as much. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, which for me is still a decent game. Like, it does what it does, but it's just barely before being like, well, I disliked it. Like, 2 stars would be, I disliked this game, and a 1 star would be, I absolutely fucking hated it. And I would give it 0 stars to give it a negative rating, but that's unfortunately not possible in most rating systems. So yeah, my main problem with that game was that it was too much of a graphic novel, even though it was written on the box. I just expected a little bit more fighting. The combat was amazing. That was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed that, but just the stuff in between, the point-and-click adventure, even though I normally like those, and the graphic novel style just weren't my thing, really. There was just too much reading because I didn't really have voice acting in there and stuff, so yeah, definitely a no for me. But maybe if someone really likes those kind of games, and Digimon Survive could be for them. The next game was actually some sort of replay from years ago, but I actually did kinda count it for this booklet as a new game, or at least a whole new playthrough that I wrote down in my notes, was Star Wars The Force Unleashed. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and it was fun. I really liked it. And yeah, cool game set in the Star Wars universe. Not much to say about it. The next game, definitely one of my highlights this year, is Thank Goodness You're Here. The funniest game you'll ever play. 5 out of 5 stars. Oh, and just so you know, The Force Unleashed was also on my backlog, so that's 2 out of 8 games that I finished from that backlog. The next game was Fallout New Vegas. 4 out of 5 stars, pretty decent, normal Fallout game. And I do actually want to try to replay it someday, maybe with some different choices. The navigation sometimes was a little bit tricky, but that's probably just a me problem. then something that I kinda actually abandoned, maybe it was just the pace of the game in the beginning. I briefly had the premium version of PlayStation Plus and got to play God of War Ragnarok, and well, I abandoned that. I didn't even wrote down an abandoning date. I just left it open, didn't give it any stars. Maybe someday I'll come back to it and I'll mention it in that yearly recap episode, but now is not the time for that. The next game, another highlight, another 5 out of 5 stars. The Stanley Parable. This game is a piece of art, and I pity everyone who won't play the game because it has this walking sim label on it. But trust me, this game is great. Another game that I briefly played but didn't even wrote down a rating was Riders Republic. It's just like some traversal game with different extreme sports like steep, so there's not much to say about it. It was okay-ish. I mean, I guess it's probably cool if you like those kind of sports games. For me, it was just an experiment. Next game. Another 5 out of 5 stars. And yes, it probably does sound like I'm giving those out easy. And I definitely want to get more into it. The topic of how I rate games. Because sometimes I'm really unsure of how to tackle that whole topic. So, the game was Cult of the Lamb. Great fun game, absolutely adorable graphic, and yeah, it's like the Binding of Isaac, but different. And yeah, so the next game was a trip down nostalgia lane. And thanks to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days collection, I got to finally play Yu-Gi-Oh! The Sacred Cards again. And, well, a game that I played so many times back then suddenly just turned into a 3 out of 5 stars game. I would give it 4 stars for the nostalgia factor, but let's be real here, that game has a lot of issues. One things that I was definitely a little bit bothered by was the fact that the sprites of the characters when they were speaking didn't change at all, so they could be saying the most emotional, upsetting thing, but they had their standard grinning with the biggest grin smile on the picture while saying some absolute sad stuff, so that actually did kinda bother me. And yeah, so complicated issue. And that also directly brings me to the next game, which is actually kinda a sequel to Sacred Cards, is Yu-Gi-Oh! Rechef of Distraction, which I gave 2 out of 5 stars and abandoned right before the final fight. Or like, after trying the final fight several times and failed. Even with the game modifiers that should have made the game easier, even then I failed. Because this game is way too goddamn hard and an absolute pain in the ass. The cards are too expensive, and I actually do believe that if RNG is not on your side, and maybe you're not skilled, you could actually, in the very, very beginning, soft lock the game. That's something I believe. I might put it to the test if I'm really bored and have really nothing else to play. I'd actually consider trying out my theory if you can soft lock the game by being a bad player and then RNG not being on your side and everything, because the big problem of the final was that there were several fights back to back and you don't have a chance to heal your health points in between. So you go into a really, really stressful and hard boss fight, probably lose some life points, and then you go into the even bigger and harder boss fight with like super low life points. That just sucked, and maybe I just got super unlucky and RNG wasn't on my side or whatever, but I just couldn't get past the final boss. So I abandoned it. Another game that I played, but like it's nothing you really finish, is the Nintendo World Championship NES edition. What is there to say? It's a fun little collection of speedrun challenges for little sections of classic Nintendo games. It's fun. I don't know why I haven't given it a rating yet. I'd probably put it at 4 stars, just because it's something interesting to have like little bite-sized sections of games trying to beat your own score or challenge yourself with friends or even like worldwide. Like that's fun, that's fine, and it's cool. Another game that I played a lot this year but then kinda stopped due to personal issues mentioned in the previous update episode was Genshin Impact, and now that the PS4 support is being stopped and the game is not even playable anymore by now, probably, or like in April or February of 2026, there's no chance to even play it. I did put it on my laptop to even be on the American server and maybe play with some friends that I have online. I'd give it 4 stars. It's a great game. It's free. You don't have to get into all the loot box and gacha mechanics, so no one's like forcing you. Of course, there's some game modifiers that make grinding for resources a lot easier if you were to spend money on it, but it's totally fine to not spend a single cent on it. So it's great. It's fun. The character designs are great. The music is great. The open world is fun. There's not much bad to say about Genshin Impact. I don't know what exactly is missing from it that I don't give it 5 out of 5 stars, but I think 4 out of 5 stars is still enough. Another game that I played, or like the next game that I played this year, or like last year, was Road 96, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I'm not entirely sure anymore why. It's a great game. It's got kinda Life is Strange, well, actually Life is Strange 2 vibes, if we're being really exact about it. It has like you choose your own adventure stuff, and it's teens traveling somewhere, and yeah, the topic is really rough. Maybe that's why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, because that's definitely not for everyone, and I don't know, maybe I really don't know what made it gave me 4 out of 5 stars instead of 5 out of 5, because it's definitely a game up my alley, but it is what it is. The next game that I played, and it's also one that is like really hard to put into words how to describe the progress, because I do suck at the game. I like it, it's a lot of fun, but I suck at it horribly. It's Balatro. I guess it's a 4 out of 5 star game for me. The card designs you can choose are fun. The game itself is fun. Again, I can't really tell what's stopping me from giving it 5 out of 5 stars, but it's there. 4 out of 5 stars. That's a lot. That's absolutely totally fine. So yeah. Another game that I actually don't even want to mention, but I wrote it down, and I actually just played it for shits and giggles because I did have it because of the PlayStation Plus, and I thought, hey, why not try this? It's Hot Wheels Unleashed, and I don't know, I guess it's like a 3 out of 5 stars game. It's just another arcade-like racing game out of the millions that are out there. You can play Disney Speedstorm for free. Well, technically for free if you consider all the, which in that game probably is even pay to win. You could play Rocket League on Fortnite. Or not Rocket League, Rocket Racing. It's always so confusing because the Rocket League is so deep in my head, even though I don't play that game because I'm so bad at it. And yeah, or you could play Rocket Racing. There's so many great racing games out there, even for me as a non-racing game playing person, except for like Mario Kart, which I suck at, and Rocket Racing, which I'm kind of decent at. I don't know where the mechanical differences are that I'm somewhat better at Rocket Racing compared to all the other games. So yeah, that's that. The next game that I played was Duck Detective, The Ghost of Glamping. Another 5 out of 5 star game. And here is the issue with me giving out 5 out of 5 stars for some games. Sometimes I just hype up a game, and Duck Detective is definitely one of them. It's silly, it's hilarious, it's just really a lot of fun. The puzzles are, well, they are a little bit simple, because they are like, you gotta pick words and fill in the empty spaces of like sentences to solve puzzles and like the crimes and secrets of the story. So that's like really simple, but it's so adorable and fun that I just can't give it less than 5 stars. Did you give me a silly goose? Well, a duck in this case, and I'll give it 5 stars. Another game that I briefly started because I think I saw like some gameplay clips on YouTube was Pumpkin Panic. So imagine if Stardew Valley and Don't Starve had a child. Like that's kinda the vibes. I think you're an adorable little pumpkin guy. I don't remember, but it's adorable, and I haven't played enough of it yet to actually give it a rating because I'm a scaredy cat, and that game is a little bit spooky, even though the graphics are adorable. So yeah, not much to say about Pumpkin Panic, but I'll probably come back to that. Another game that I got to play, and I actually have finished, but I haven't written it down because I kind of forgot about writing it down, is Mario Kart World, and it's fun. I'll give it 4 out of 5 stars, just simply because I liked Mario Kart 8 a lot more. I do like the open world, and I was excited about that when it was announced, but I don't know, there is just a little something somewhere missing that I can't give it 5 out of 5 stars. And even if it's just the fact that I don't like it as much as Mario Kart 8. Oh, and Mario Kart World doesn't let me drive as Link. I get to drive as an adorable cow, which is a plus, but I can't drive as Link, which brings me to the next game. The Switch 2 edition of Breath of the Wild. I did start Breath of the Wild like years ago on my previous Switch, but never finished it, and I tried to start a new save on the Switch 2 with the Switch 2 edition, and I also never got through with it. It is a 4 out of 5 game. I'd just say I think it's a little bit too complicated with all the decaying equipment and all. Like, I get that the makers of Zelda want to take it a step further and go into the world of other RPGs, and it's definitely fun to mix and match all the equipment you have, but it's just I don't like durability on weapons. Not when it's not fitting for the game. Like, if you play, and I'll get to that later, Kingdom Come Deliverance, for example, that makes sense that you have durability on all your gear. I just don't want durability in a Zelda game. I get it if you have a stick and you use it to light up a torch or something, and the stick burns up. That's totally fine. That's acceptable durability. But all the other stuff? Come on, please. I mean, I get it, because sometimes you tend to get super overpowered gear, but then just put the durability on the overpowered gear and not on all the other stuff. But yeah. The next game I played, and that was definitely the highlight of my gaming year 2025, is that I finally got to play The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. 5 out of 5 stars. I love sailing the sea. I love exploring every little bit. The soundtrack is amazing. The graphics are cute. It's just amazing, and it has one of the best seagulls in gaming. Another game that I actually started years ago, but now just started again on the Switch 2, is No Man's Sky, and I wrote down absolutely fucking nothing. It made huge progress compared to back when it launched. So many people say that No Man's Sky redeemed itself. And it's true. And I'm actually planning to get back to it and finish the story, even though I'm playing in creative mode. And yeah, that's probably cheating, but I don't care. I just want to get through the story, and if the creative mode is playing on easy, then it is what it is. You still have to explore so much stuff, even in creative mode. So, yeah, No Man's Sky, 4 stars. It's as easy as that, and with the expansions that are constantly coming out, what is there to complain? Nothing. So yeah, that's that. The next game that I've played was Road 96 Mile Zero. Here's the rare occasion where I give out half stars, even though that's not entirely possible in most rating systems when you put them in online. It's 3.5 stars. The thing is, it's a great game, but I feel like it's not as necessary in addition to the first game. It's always cool to have like prequels, but sometimes they do feel off. And if I had known, I should have probably played it first, because playing it after the original game, it did feel kind of weird, because you have like some twists in the game that don't feel right when you play the first one first. The skating levels, the game has skating minigames. They were really hard at first for me. Like, oh boy, I would have had to abandon the game if the game didn't let me skip those skating sections after a few tries. So, yeah. If I put a rating in on channel 3, I'd probably put it at 3 out of 5 stars. Another game that I played and also like super sucked at, I'd give it like... And it's a me problem, and I'm making it the game's problem in the rating. I'll give Super Mario Strikers 3 out of 5 stars. I suck at the game, the mechanics are really complicated for me. I briefly played it, I played a few rounds. I think I got like 1 win in with a lot of luck and mashing buttons, not knowing what I'm doing. And yeah, so if you like Super Mario Strikers, I'm sorry, but oh boy, no, that game is a no for me. I still give it 3 out of 5 stars though, because, I don't know, there is some bit of, I don't know, I pity the game. Because I think it's still like the animations are cool, the vibes are amazing, the energy when a big goal is scored and everything, those are great. I definitely like those. The next game, oh boy, was Biomutant. And it's the only game, and I got like really lucky that I hadn't filled out my notes yet for a potential next game, so I could write a 2 pages full of notes, because I have so much to say about this game. I would love to give this game 4 stars, but I can't. This game, unfortunately, for me, only comes up to 3 out of 5 stars. It's like, I don't know, there was too many things that felt off. The game was full of fetch quests, which I normally don't have a problem with. I was glad that one of the game loop sections was skippable at one point because the quests in those specific game loop quests were really, really, really repetitive. I played it on easy mode. I don't know if that messes with the RNG because I got pretty much amazing loot all the time. So the shops and the currency in that game felt super unnecessary. And another thing, and that's just a little mechanics thing that I can't really blame the game for, but other games do have that. And I get that from like a lore perspective, it does make sense, but I still would have wished that you could have made the gear look like other gear, because all that stuff that I put together at times looked so ridiculous and silly and dumb, like it kind of put me off at times. And there were also like some parts where I feel like the game contradicted itself. I think like the professional term is like ludonarrative dissonance, but I'm not even sure if that would be the correct thing. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you're a completionist and like collecting stuff, that game is definitely for you. Like there's so much to collect, so many little collections to find. It's wow. It's a little bit unhinged. And the thing is, I feel like maybe I'm just not the target audience for that game. Like it feels like it's like baby's first RPG, but just like for teens, you know? And another thing that I really didn't like about the game is that it takes a really, really long time to boot it up, because it has like a shit ton of like loading screens and pre-start screen scenes that even with skipping them take a really, really long time to go back into the actual game. Like that's something that definitely shouldn't be there. So yeah, that's Biomutant. It was an experience to play, and I'm glad I did play that game, but I would never play it again. So, the next game was Pikmin 1. I actually started it like 2024. I didn't write down a starting date. I don't know why. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's adorable, absolutely interesting gameplay. It was, and maybe that's just another me thing, it was really challenging at times. And yeah, I don't know. I also started Pikmin 2 and I got up until the final level and stopped there because, again, just like in Pikmin 1, it got a little bit too complex for me because I'm not the most skilled gamer. I'm just really glad that Pikmin 2 doesn't have a time limit. So I'll have to get back to that. The next game was another 5 out of 5 star game that I can't actually say anything about because you just have to trust anyone who tells you to play this game, because it's amazing. There is a lot of reading, and I did say that it the graphic novel aspect in Digimon Survive bothered me. But in Doki Doki Literature Club, it was perfectly fine. Maybe it was just because I didn't go in with any other expectations than it being a graphic novel game. So, yeah, it is only a visual novel with some gameplay input, but not much. But the brilliant story makes absolutely up for it. Just a fair warning, take the trigger warning seriously. The next game that I played was another game that was really, really challenging for me. It was Sifu. 4 out of 5 stars. Great concept, amazing visuals and art style. Just an amazing game. Just maybe not a game for my skill level as a gamer. Even though I've been playing for many, many years, it's just not that kind of game that I normally play, and therefore struggle with games like Sifu. The next game that I played, an absolute surprise. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, a campaign remaster. So, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I never thought I'd play one of those military shooters, but I don't know, I got kinda curious and started playing it. It was really challenging for me because, as I said, I never played one of those military shooters. I normally only play, like, if I go and play a first-person shooter, more first-person shooters that are kinda, I don't want to say silly, but they do feel more arcade-like and more forgiving when you do mess up. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was ruthless, and I failed many, many, many times. But the story of the campaign, oh boy, was that an amazing one. And the visuals were so great. I am so happy that I got over my prejudice and just played that game. Like, wow. Just thinking about what I would have missed not playing that game. It's amazing. And the next game that I played was Control. Another one of those games that I started years ago and then never got far, and then tried again to start it, and then again never got past one section. Not because of, like, some skill level, just because it didn't 100% fully grab my attention at that point, and then I just forgot about it. But this year, I finally sat down, took the time, and said, I'm going to play past that point finally. And I did. It's a hard game. And if it wasn't for all the tiny and big and extreme gameplay accessibility options like unlimited ammo or more health, faster reload speeds, all those game modifiers that make the game a lot more accessible, I wouldn't have been able to beat it without those. But it was still fun. And I feel like in the later levels, it even kinda made sense to be that overpowered. Because why not? You get more experience and then you just beat all those goons. Why not? The lore is super cool, the graphics were amazing, and the sound design too, like, holy fuck. 5 out of 5 stars for Control. Next game, the Exit 8. Played it and beat it in one setting. That being, I retried it over and over and over and over again until I found all anomalies. It's just a little game, it's super cheap, it's a great experience, and if you have a few bucks laying around that you don't know where to spend, go play the Exit 8. It's amazing. It's spooky, but it's amazing. And it's quite tricky at times, so look at everything. The next game that I played, and to be honest, actually also abandoned because the mechanics aren't just as good as they maybe should be to make the game an enjoyable experience playing, is Cattails. And as a big Warrior Cats fan and a big Stardew Valley fan, you'd think this game is the perfect game for me. And it was. Even though some bits of it make it clear that it's definitely inspired by those two things. But as I said, some things in the mechanics just don't really vibe with me. I don't know if the mechanics in itself are really like that bad, or if I just struggle with them. So yeah, I unfortunately had to abandon it. It just didn't make sense trying to get through that. Another game that I started and haven't finished yet is Graveyard Keeper, a game which I so far really enjoy. It's a little bit like Stardew Valley, but different. And yeah, I'll definitely look into finishing that game this year. And then the next game that I played was Spiritfarer. 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm so glad that I finally sat down to play it. And the review that I wrote down for this game is quite simple. It's just one word. Wow. That's it. That's the review. Just wow. The topics of this game, obviously, as is with pretty much every indie game, are kinda rough and hard, but necessary. And I think it's a game that everyone should play. A few criticisms that some people have, but I personally didn't have much of a problem with, was the resource management and gathering. But yeah, I think the great story just made up for that, so I wasn't really bothered by that. The next game that I started was Ori and the Blind Forest. I'll just say Channel 3 made me do it because that game is quite big over there and has a lot of dedicated fans. I'll look into finishing it, but I suck at games like that, so it will be a really hard and exhausting and frustrating journey. But so far, even if I haven't finished it, I'd still give it probably like 4 out of 5 stars, just because it is what it is. The next game that I played and also haven't finished yet was Stick It to the Man. A really unhinged and crazy game, let's be real. I'd probably give it 4 out of 5 stars once I'm done. Unless something really unforeseen happens that makes me say, oh boy, oh gosh damn it, no, that game is not for me. It is a game, it does what it does, and then I'll rate it accordingly, as many stars as I think it should get. The next game that I played, and the last game that I finished this year, 2 different things, mind you, is Kingdom Come Deliverance. 4 out of 5 stars. I would give it 5 out of 5 stars if it wasn't for the absolutely complicated and complex mechanics. Yes, maybe that's what makes this game so special and stand out that much, but it just wasn't for me. I struggled a lot getting through it. Halfway through, I almost abandoned it. I'm glad that I didn't, and that I pushed through and tried again, and looked online for some silly little loopholes to get through parts that I struggled with, and yeah, the open world is beautiful, but it also just looks like home. Like, man, that game, I have some screenshots of the game that I actually can put side by side with photos that I took outside around the forest that I live next to, and it's amazing. I mean, Middle European mixed forest, that's home, and sometimes the game even made me sad because many parts of the forest around where I live don't look like that anymore because of many storms and like deforestation for either just monetary gain or like for safety issues because some stupid bugs got into the trees and yeah. The next game that I played was actually kind of a Halloween special, was Luigi's Mansion. 4 out of 5 stars. A classic. Kind of struggled with it at times because, I don't know, maybe because I don't have the GameCube Nintendo Switch controller. Maybe it would have been easier with that, but I got through that. I mean, I did play Wind Waker with the regular controller, so why not Luigi's Mansion too? It was fun. It was a silly little adventure, and I liked it. So, as I said, 4 out of 5 stars. The next game that I played is something I have to explain a little bit more. The thing is, I started the game because I do have this little mission of playing almost every Daedalic game. The almost should be obvious which one I mean that I won't touch, but I definitely do want to touch all the other games that they put out and that are available to me. And it's Pillars of the Earth. And as for now, and I might get back to that over the time of this year, For now, I unfortunately only had to give it 2 stars, because when I played it on Switch 2, I ran into some horrible game-breaking bugs, like freezing screens and being locked into screens and not being able to click on anything that might make me go to the next screen. A lot of trouble with that stuff. Even when I deleted it, got a new save file and everything, the same bugs still appeared. And that's just the thing. But the same day that I abandoned it on Switch 2, I actually went and got the virtual game card on my Switch Lite and started playing it there. Caught up to the point where the game-breaking bug on the Switch 2 happened, and then just kept playing. There were some bugs here and there that still kinda messed with the game, but they were gone quickly after like a reload, or still somehow managing to get into the next screen. So yeah, it has the potential for a great point-and-click adventure, but the thing that happened to me on the Switch 2 was really, really unfortunate, and from what I've seen online, this game is definitely not bug-free, so that's kinda sad, because as I said, the game has great potential. The graphics are amazing, the music is amazing, the story, I mean, I don't know the original novels, but I guess the story is also amazing. I read online that they actually toned down a bit of the violence, which, so far, from what I've seen in the game, I guess I'm glad they did that. So, enough of that. That's a bit of a complicated issue. So, on to the next game. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, with the secret, if it was possible, 4.5 out of 5 stars. There's just a little bit missing from the game that I just can't put my finger on. I don't know exactly what it is. I know that there's DLC for that out there, but I don't necessarily think it's the DLC that's missing from the game that would make it a 5 out of 5 star game for me. It's a spooky 3D-ish Dave the Diver without the diving, but yeah. And it's great, and I actually, that game made me want to go back into Dave the Diver and actually go and play the Dredge DLC of that game. And yeah, so Dredge was fun, 4 out of 5 stars. Go play it if you're into that kind of game, or just give it a chance if you're usually not into that kind of game. It's definitely worth it, if you ask me, because there's some mechanics in there that are definitely fun. The next game that I played, well, actually a trilogy. I mentioned in the last episode, the update episode. So I'll just go through them real quick. So I played those games back to back. Batman Arkham Asylum, 4 out of 5 stars. Fun gameplay, lots of fun. Kinda gave me, and I don't know why, but it just makes sense in my head, Assassin's Creed 2 vibes. Batman Arkham City, 4 out of 5 stars. Cool map, fun gameplay, kinda gave me Fallout 4 vibes, you know, like Good Neighbor. And then finally the big finale, Batman Arkham Knight, 5 out of 5 stars. gave me GTA vibes. And also like kind of Spider-Man, but I guess that's like a superhero in a big open world city. Amazing and fun. The game was kind of dark at times, and I don't mean visually, but it felt fitting. The vehicle combat was a bit tricky, but again, maybe that's just a me problem. And the next game that I played was Mafia 1, the definitive edition. And I'm a spiteful little creature, so the only thing that stopped me from giving this game 5 out of 5 stars is that stupid, fucking, exhausting and frustrating and hard racing mission in the beginning of the game. I struggled so much with it that I almost had to abandon the game because of that. So yeah, otherwise, the game is amazing. It's got a great soundtrack, the characters are amazing, the story is amazing, it just looks amazing. Especially after seeing like comparison pictures of how the characters looked in the original. Oh boy, I love it. And the next game that I played was a game about digging a hole. It's a silly short game about digging a hole. 4 out of 5 stars. Some might give it 3 because it's just silly and stupid and there's not much to do. It's just basically like one of those stupid tycoon games in Fortnite. But it is what it is. It's a game about digging a hole. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The next game that I played is Mafia 2. Also definitive edition. 4 out of 5 stars. This time without any spiteful points taken down from it. It's just a 4 out of 5 star game for me. And that's just because I needed a comparison to say, hey, I didn't like it as much as the first one. And maybe that's the thing. And looking at my notes, there's one thing that I just remembered that was really frustrating and maybe is actually a good reason to not give it 5 out of 5 stars. It's the off-center crosshair that's just not in the right place on the screen. It's just a little bit too much upwards from the usual middle of the screen that you're used to from every other game. I don't know what the developers were smoking or drinking when they put the crosshair there, but it sucked and made the game unnecessarily complicated at times. And the next game that I started, and probably the first game that I'll finish this year unless I get distracted by a smaller, much faster to finish game, will be Mafia 3. I played through the intro and now the real story starts, and I already noticed that it will be probably a lot like GTA 5, and there will be a lot of missions and a lot of characters that I'll meet, and I already know that it's going to be fun. I'll try not to compare it too much to GTA 5, even though that picture is already in my head. And yeah, so that's it for the games that I played 2025. And next up is the point where we speak about my backlog. And now again, just as a quick little recap, the games that I got to cross off my backlog that I wrote the same time last year are Pikmin 1, Control, Mafia 1, Mafia 2, Biomutant, The Force Unleashed, Spiritfarer, and Digimon Survive. Which leaves the following games. Pikmin 2, Alan Wake, GTA and San Andreas, even though I'm pretty sure I might actually abandon it because I'm stuck at the last mission and I don't think I'll get through that. GTA 3, GTA Vice City, Kentucky Route Zero, Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, KOTOR, KOTOR 2, Advance Wars Reboot, another game that I might put on the abandon list or just not mention until I've actually beat it and just not put a starting date somewhere. The Long Journey Home, Deponia 2, 3 and 4, the Amnesia Collection, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5, the Dark Eyes Memoria, Dark Eyes Chains of Satinav, Blackguards 2, Outlast, a game that I actually do regret putting on my backlog, because I'm a scaredy cat and I don't think I'll ever get through that game, so I might just abandon it, or not even abandon it, just cross it off my backlog and never touch it. Edna and Harvey the Breakout, Doom Eternal, and Risen. Now to the games that I started and that are on the backlog. Those are Graveyard Keeper, Pillars of the Earth, Mafia 3, Stick It to the Man, Ori and the Blind Forest, No Man's Sky, Zelda Breath of the Wild Switch 2 Edition, and Pumpkin Panic. And now for a fun new little section. Curiosity and subscription make the backlog longer. Well, I kind of wanted to make a pun of Curiosity Killed the Cat, but I couldn't find one, so yeah. All the Zelda games that are available to me via Nintendo Switch Online. That means finally beating the Minish Cap. I don't even know when I started that. So yeah, maybe I'll just start a new file to get used to the controls again. Something like that. I'm in the Wind Temple and it's complicated. Then, as I said, all the games are with a big maybe just because I have them in my PlayStation Plus library. Borderlands 3, which I'm not sure if it would even make sense to play because of the 3. Cocoon, Cold Vein, Curse of the Dead Gods, Diablo 4, Digimon Story, Cyber Sleuth, Hacker's Memory, Dreams. I'm not even sure if that game is still alive. As far as I know, that was a big online thing. Ender Lilies, Entling, Evil West, Generation Zero, Greedfall, High on Life, Hood, Outlaws and Legends, Lies of Pi, Little Nightmares 2, which I'm really scared about because Little Nightmares 1 already messed me up, Neon White, Neo 2, Nobody Saves the World, Persona 5 Strikers, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, Rayman Legends, Sackboy, A Big Adventure, and Tiny Tina's Wonderland, that dragon castle thing. So yeah, that's a lot of games, and unless I find a lot of stuff to cut out of the episode, like longer pauses or something, this episode is an hour long. So I'll just leave you with the question of the episode. Which games did you really enjoy that you played 2025? And what game are you looking forward to play 2026? No matter if it comes out this year or if it's something that's on your backlog that you're planning to play. And with that, this episode comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to answer the question of the episode and maybe follow me on my social media, especially Channel 3, the Goodreads for video games. All important links are in the description, and until the next episode, Bye.